Yo, what's good? Welcome back to Gridiron Podcast. I'm your host, JB. As always, joining me, Devontae, forever. What's good, bro? Welcome back,
Welcome back.
NFL.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Season 2, we here. We here. We kind of scared people because they didn't think we was gonna be back because we didn't do preseason. But
Yeah,
welcome.
man.
Surprise.
We heard the talk, man. Everybody's telling like, yo, where's the show at? Season gonna start. I was like, yo, don't worry. We was always gonna be back, man. We back wasn't. I told y'all it's a show of improvements. You're gonna see an update to some of the graphics, update to the combos, and the football knowledge is only going up, right?
Come on, man.
So, yo, man, as always, appreciate all the love and support. Real talk. Devontae's heard great feedback. I've heard great feedback. So we ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's get into the football talk. Yo, the first thing we gonna kick off, man. Obviously, the 2023 season kicks off Thursday night. We got the Lions, we got the Chiefs. But before we even get into that, what is your thoughts on the overall 2023 season? Like, what are you anticipating? Are you hyped for it? What's your thoughts on that?
I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see how these rookies play because if you look at last year's rookies kind of dominated, and that was kind of like not normally what you see. All Garrett Wilson went crazy. So was Gardner, which came in the league and just started shutting everybody down. If you look at a lot of the rookies around the league, they was all starting to get a little crazy. And like you may be used to seeing one or two rookies kind of start coming in the league and start tearing it up. Everybody started tearing it up. A lot of sophomores. Normally you're used to sophomore slumps. None of the quarterbacks took really sophomore slumps. Justin Fields took strides. Trevor Lawrence took massive strides. So like I think it's very interesting to see how these rookies stand up to last year's rookies and how the rookie quarterbacks of last season will be this year. So I'm definitely excited.
Yeah, man. Like I thought last year's rookie class was actually incredible. If I'm being completely honest, I thought they were really, really, really good. The way these college players are integrating into like the NFL now is just like seamless. You know what I mean? It's like we've always heard the college style, the pro style, right? But now obviously the NFL's incorporated a lot of stuff from college, so they're starting to merge. But before we get into all this stuff and like that, I want to get your thoughts, man, and then I'll give you mine on my team. Steelers, obviously, brand new season. Pickett's no longer a rookie. It's his job now. There's no Trubisky. How are we going to go? Najee Harris got another year under the belt. You know what we think about TJ Watt, of course. What's your outlook for the Steelers this year, man?
It's very simple. We are going to the playoffs. Period, point blank. We're going back to the playoffs. We are going to be that sleeping team that you don't want to see. I think, honestly, if we have TJ Watt last year, I think we're a 9-win team. We're a 10 win team. I honestly think we're probably going to be in the same boat. We got a tough schedule. We play some tough teams. No, normally my Pittsburgh Steelers are always bound somehow magically to lose one game. We have no business losing. Last year was the Jets. So who knows who's probably going to be like the Rams or somebody stupid this year.
Right.
But I definitely see us taking strides like kind of how the Jacksonville Jaguars took strides last year. Hopefully we don't get down by that much and have to come all the way back and win the game. But like I think we're going to be in that where we win a playoff game. We make some noise in the divisional round for sure. But I think our young team is really going to elevate. And if we don't elevate, just know our offensive coordinator will be out the door so fast.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think the Steelers I thought they had a good team last year, if I'm being completely honest. I thought the defense is obviously incredible. I just thought Pickett was a rookie. Obviously, he did a lot of good. Then he'll throw a pick. You know what I mean? That's rookie stuff. If Najee could take that step, from going to like a good back with promise to like a really good back, even a great back, then all systems is going Pittsburgh. The Raiders, man, like last season, y'all know I had my gripes on McDaniels. Obviously, I don't like how the Derek Carr era ended, Obviously he's with the Saints now. We'll get into that one of these weeks. I think the Saints are going to be good. I think the Raiders are going to be right. Last year was disappointing. I think the talent's going to show. I think Edwards is going to have a good year as a rookie. I think Chandler Jones, I know there's a little hiccup with him today. Couldn't get into the gym. They wouldn't let him work out. Typical Patriot, Josh McDaniels stuff. Crosby's going to be good. Devontae Adams is Devontae Adams. It's whatever, right? Cool. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't expect much from the Raiders this year. I think they'll be a tough they'll be tough to beat in terms of they'll play teams close, right? They always play Kansas City close in a game. They'll play the Chargers close. They might even beat the Chargers once or twice. They'll beat the Broncos once. But in terms of playoffs, nah, they ain't going nowhere. But all right, yo. With that said, let's get into what we actually here to talk about, man. Yo, first things first, man. Kicking this off. Yo, Kansas City, man. We all know the Chiefs right now. They are the reigning champs. Obviously, they beat Philly in the Super Bowl. I'm not the biggest fan of the Chiefs because the AFC West, but I got to give them the props. Patrick Mahomes is that dude. It's not even a question. Kelsey is a monster. Andy Reid is the best offensive play caller of all time. I think that is clear. The Super Bowl alone showed that. But they also got a team that a lot of people expect a lot from this year. We always talk about expectations, right? Detroit Lions is now coming in, a team that finished out last year. They didn't make the playoffs, but they also beat a Green Bay team that we both thought was good and kept them from getting into the playoffs. Obviously, they head to Arrowhead. That's going to be a tough place to play on banner night. You know what I mean? Shout out to my guy Bobby, who's going to be at the game because he's a big Chiefs fan. How can the Chiefs repeat as champions, man? Like, what do they have to do? We know there's Travis Kelce, hyperextended knee, ACL possible. So who knows? They say he might play. I think it'd be stupid for him to play in the opening game. But Chris Jones is still on holdout. How can the Chiefs repeat as champions?
They're gonna have to just. It's gonna be shocking. They're gonna have to play. They're gonna have to learn how to play defense without Chris Jones for the first couple of games.
Right.
While he's holding out for this contract, they're gonna have to learn how to. You're gonna have to see guys like George Karlaftis really come in and have to make an impact. Because the one thing about Chris Jones, yes, Chris Jones could rush the passer, but Chris Jones was also one of the biggest reasons why you really couldn't run the ball that well on the Chiefs. He was manhandled. He manhandles. He plugs up the middle of your defense. So without that, who steps up? Who really knows? Honestly, besides George Karlaftis, who do you really know on that defensive line for the Chiefs? You don't know pretty much nobody. Like their secondary is always They're not the greatest, but they're not trashed in any way. So they're gonna have some troubles there. But honestly, it's an Andy Reid pretty much team where it's like their offense is that stacked where like they have magicians pretty much. They have a magician pretty much drawing up these plays every single time, and he has the perfect quarterback for them. So honestly, the way to beat the Chiefs, honestly, is if you get them down by 10 points, put your foot in the gas, don't take breaks. Like you're really gonna have to do what I personally hate. You're gonna have to Brandon Staley these guys, where it's like no matter if it's 4th and 1, go for it every single time. Because you give them one little window to get back into the game, they're going to get back in the game. They're going to burn you with it. Absolutely. They're that unstoppable. Even with the Travis Kelce out, they're still that nice. like they're that nice. Like there's nothing you really like. They're just really that strong to where they're kind of remind me of like the old Patriots, where it's like if you have them down, put them down. You can't. Like if you try to just nurse them to sleep, you're not gonna out tire the Chiefs. You're gonna have to just whip on them. Period.
Absolutely. Yo, as long as they got 15 and as long as they got Andy Reid, that's the duo. It's not Mahomes and Hill. It's not Mahomes and Kelsey. No disrespect to Hill. I think he's great. No disrespect to Travis Kelce. I think he's the best tight end in football right now. Mm-hmm. Making his way to one of the best ever, right? But at the same time, yo, as long as they got Andy Reid and Mahomes, they're going to be good, right? The play calling is so. I kind of agree with you. Like it's going to be the offensive show. It always is. That's really the biggest thing, right? Mm-hmm. The offensive showcase that the Chiefs can put on is second to none. The defense, Chris Jones is the most important player they have on defense. It's not even close. Mm-hmm. I'd even say I could even make the case he's the second most important player behind Patrick Mahomes. Because as good as Kelsey is, we've seen Mahomes throw the ball to other people, right? Whether if it was Tony, whether it was Juju, who's no longer there, but at the same time, like you've seen him kind of throw Blake Bell, who might even start at tight end on Thursday night. Mm-hmm. But the defense of the Chiefs, I've always said we always rag on it. We had jokes with Sorensen, right? We've always respected Honey Badger before he left. but like we always kind of made fun of that Chiefs defense. But at the same time, they get timely stops and they get timely quarterback pressures and sacks. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, and Chris Jones, 15 sacks last year. That's nothing to sneeze at. You know what I'm saying? Now, is he Aaron Donald? No. Is he TJ Watt? Nick Bosa? No. But he's on that next tier that's close. He is an elite pass rusher and he's a very good run stopper. And without him in the lineup, that Chiefs defense goes from average to horrible.
Yep.
So how can they repeat as champions? You got to get Kelsey healthy. You got to get Chris Jones back, though. That's key. And then basically just play offense, right? Because the defense, like literally, like their offense is lethal, man. And
like not many teams are gonna be able to outshoot them.
Right. Shout out to JR. Let's go. He said Eagles. He said Eagles is like he's gonna stop them. Okay. Yeah, man. Like Kansas City they're so damn tricky, man, because it's like I've seen so many teams get close to beating them, right? But it's like you have to have that killer instinct. You know what I mean? Like, for example, and you can't make mistakes against the Chiefs. In that way, they do remind me of the Patriots with Brady and Belichick. You can't make that one mistake, right? Like, for example, JR brings up the Eagles. We've seen Philly have them on the ropes, right? Kansas City could not stop Philly, but Philly made the crucial mistake of that fumble that got returned for a touchdown. Flip the game just like that. Without that fumble, I instantly think Philly wins the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think about when Burrow beat him the 3 times he did, including in the playoffs. Burrow was damn near flawless that game. Jamar Chase was a monster. Higgins. Those guys were monsters in that game. But what happened in this past AFC Championship when the Bengals lost? Timely mistakes. Burrow threw the 2 picks, and then the guy he gets the roughing the passer unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
Ball game.
Boom. Raiders had them beat. You remember that Monday night game? Raiders had them beat. What happens? Adams and Renfro run into each other. Boom. Turnover on downs. Game over. You ain't get like with the Chiefs. You got to knock them out quick because they're such a lethal offense. We've seen them come back from 21 on the Texans with Deshaun Watson. We've seen them come back on the Ravens. We've seen them come back on the Titans. You know what I mean? Like you got to punch him in the face. All right, Mary, what's good, Mary? Appreciate the love. Said go Pats. Like, yeah, no. All right, real quick, I do want to get into the Lions side of this, right?
Okay.
Detroit Lions. Obviously, we've talked about them a lot last year. We thought they was really good. Jared Goff has had like a resurgence because when the league was down on him, quiet as kept, he was flawless last year in Detroit. You know what I mean? He played really, really well. But now, obviously, Jamal Williams is gone. He's on the Saints. But a lot of people say that defense has gotten a lot better. They said even the offense has gotten better. What's your actual thoughts on the Lions?
The Lions is going to NFC North. I think the Lions will. I can't believe I'm saying this. I never thought I'd ever say this. The Lions will be winning the NFC North. I think they have a very, very, very incredibly talented rookie in Jahmyr Gibbs, who kind of gives me like Alvin Kamara vibes, where you can use him all over the place. Where you can run him off tackle, you can run him inside the tackles, you can throw him the ball, he can run routes. He's very scary. Like he's very scary that you're going to deal with. I think Aiden Hutchinson is going to take that next step. I think we're going to be talking about him as at least maybe like 7, 8, 9 kind of top 10 pass rusher in this league. Aiden Hutchinson is dirty. Like he's
absolutely.
They had one of the better drafts. They got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. Like they got a lot of speedsters. They got a lot of speed that they can contribute to. And I think the NFC North is one of those real like ground pound kind of tough, rough divisions. And I think they're made for it. They play a type of football that's not really seen in this day and age, which can make you very dangerous when you're not, for a lot of teams, when they're not used to seeing like a 12 personnel. Not a lot of teams run 12 personnel these days, besides like maybe the Ravens, Cleveland, and the Lions. Like not a lot of teams run these kind of packages anymore. And I think Detroit is very dangerous on how they run the ball so well that it makes it easier for them to pass off of. and they have real good receivers that are really good at separation. So I think honestly, they just gotta whatever they did last year, their game plan, literally don't change it.
That's a good point. That's a good point. One thing I love about Detroit is I love the fact that they, and shout out to Dan Campbell, but like they literally play smash mouth football as close as you can to it in the modern league with the modern rules, right? I love the fact that Jamal Williams led the league in rushing touchdowns last year, albeit a lot of them from 1 yard out. It's smart. You don't got to throw the slant like Wade Wilson did. You don't got to throw the flat pass that get picked. Just run the ball. I love the fact that they play like that. I do think they're going to be very dangerous. And what better stage than on that? We saw how the Bills came out the gate before injuries kind of slowed them down when they came out and punched the Rams in the face on opening night. Travis Kelce may not play with the knee. This might be a perfect time for the Lions to kind of take that step on the national stage and kind of go out and take a shot at the defending champs. Let's get to these comments. Zach, what's going on? What's good? Brady said, you guys going to give your picks? Absolutely. If you look down the bottom of the screen, that's the rundown of what's coming up. We're going to get in the picks, man. JR said the Lions are dangerous. Absolutely agree. I think the Lions are going to be really good. Chicago, Green Bay, Minnesota, like they got their work cut out. I think that's going to be a sneaky good division. Brady said, don't sleep on the Bears. Love the Lions, but I love what Chicago's doing. Everything comes down to how far Fields has progressed. You're a big proponent of Justin Fields.
Oh, that's my guy. I just think they're a year away. They need one more. I think they need one more solid draft. I think that defense needs to be shaped up a little bit, but they finally got my man some offensive talent. Thank you, God. They finally got him some offensive talent, but they're like a year away. They're going to be better. They'll be better, but they're just like a little bit. They're almost there.
Absolutely. He also said, Jordan Love is getting no love. I see what you did there. That could be a very competitive division. Absolutely. We all agree. I think that division is going to be smash mouth. I think it's going to come down to it. Some key departures, obviously the big one, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, which is we're about to get to. But Dalvin Cook is no longer on the Vikings. You know what I mean? He's on the Jets.
DeAndre Swift now in the Lions.
Swift is gone. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of key departures. I do agree on the Bears, though. I think the Bears are going to be better. Shout out to Trev for Elam checking out the show. Was good, bro. Shout out to Nate Butler. Was good, bro. Appreciate y'all checking out the show. All right. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, obviously the blockbuster of the thing, Aaron Rodgers is now a New York Jet. Of course, they get the Hard Knocks spot, right? Like, been watching Hard Knocks, we see how it is, and we all remember when Hard Knocks was on the last time with Rex Ryan. This time around was not as entertaining, but obviously the Jets got probably the best quarterback they've had, at least since Favre, right? I know Mark Sanchez technically took them far, but we know that was more run game and defense, of course. But they got a huge test ahead of them too, obviously. Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets, Monday Night Football. What a stage, right? What do you expect from both of these teams this year? We know the Bills came out the gate last year, opening night, punched the Rams in the face. They look unstoppable. And to your credit, you said, let's see how it goes as the season goes on. They broke down Von Miller. He's out the first 4 games because he got hurt. Josh Allen kind of regressed off. You know what I mean? Start throwing picks. So I asked, man. Obviously, we know the Jets. You've been talking about Sauce before he was even drafted. How well he is. The defense is great. Rodgers is here now. Wilson's a monster at the receiver position. What do you expect? We'll start with the Jets. What do you expect from the New York Jets this year?
The Jets will go to the divisional round and lose.
Okay.
I think the Jets will go to the divisional round and lose, whether they win or whether they don't. I think they're good enough. They have talent. I think they have a lot of talent with Quentin Williams. You finally gave Aaron Rodgers like a true defense.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're just a reincarnated version of the Packers.
Okay.
That's going to be the biggest problem. You're going to see a lot of the same things they did on offense probably 2 years ago. Don't get me wrong. He won MVP on that off of that. But
sure.
Well, he doesn't finish. So now I feel like we're in a position where it's like there is no excuse. There is no excuse where you're not you're not in Green Bay anymore. They're not going to sit there and draft 45 defensive players every single year in the first round, not get you no offensive lineman, not get you no receiver, not get you no tight end. You're in New York now. You're in the Mecca.
Right.
With that being said, I think this is the game of the week. This is my favorite game of the week, and I think the Jets will finally win this game. They will finally beat the Buffalo Bills. They will finally beat the Buffalo Bills. And because I just don't trust the Josh Allen offensive line at all. The offensive line was garbage. Like we always give flack. We always get so much flack to the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. We always roast and violate the Cincinnati Bengals offensive line. We never talk about how bad Buffalo's offensive line is. There's a reason why Josh Allen got to run the ball all the time.
Right.
They can't block. Like they're another team that has a struggling offensive line with an elite quarterback. So because he wants to do everything, he throws interceptions. And because of that, I don't think the Bills have really progressed. I kind of feel like they just thought they could just be nice enough to run it back with the same people. I don't think they're that type of team. So with that being said, I got the Jets beating the Buffalo Bills in a very close game. I think it's going to be a dogfight, but I just think this is going to be the win that the Jets so desperately need. I think they have a very tough schedule. So with that being said, I think if they can come out and win at home against the Bills, it'll put it'll put a lot more people in seats, and two, for more important reasons, it'll give that fire and that flame of New York back that they're going to desperately have to ride throughout the season.
Look, man, Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, all-time great. Even with Patrick Mahomes, he's still the best physical thrower of the football I've ever seen. That dude can make throws I don't think anybody on earth can make. I like the Jets defense a lot. You know what I mean? If there's ever a gripe about the Jets defense I have, it's the linebacker. Mosley's a monster, but he's getting older. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see them this offseason go get a linebacker in the draft who can fill, you know what I mean, take over, maybe move Mosley off of the Mike spot. But other than that, I think the Jets are going to be strong, man. I expect the Jets nothing less than the divisional round. Nothing less. You know what I mean?
Same here.
And if it wasn't for the team that I'm about to talk about with the Bills, I would say nothing less than being division champion, right? But I'm not too quick to take that away from the Bills, and I'm not just going to disrespect the Dolphins or Pats for that matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think with Aaron Rodgers, that defense, the run game with Hall being healthy and Dalvin Cook being there, you know what I mean? That nothing less than the divisional round. I have great respect for the teams in the AFC. I think the Bengals are incredible. I think the Bills are very good. The Chiefs are the reigning champions. Mm-hmm. So if you get knocked out by the Chiefs, or you get knocked out by the Bills, or even actually no, because of the Jets, you can't get knocked out by the Bills. But the Bengals or Chiefs, knock them out, okay, fine, right? Depending on how the game went. Anything short of that, hell no. like I think the Jets have a very good roster, top to bottom, and now they have the court. That's what they always cried about, right? They've always cried about. We need a quarterback. We haven't had one since Joe Namath. It's not right. Everybody else. Now you got one. You got Aaron Rodgers. Last year he looked but we know there was stuff going on. Before that, he won the back-to-back MVPs.
True.
Here we go. As for the Bills, to switch gears over to the Bills side, shout out to LaRon checking out the show. Appreciate you, bro. As for the Bills, I don't want to say it's time for Josh Allen to shit or get off the pot, because I think that's too strong, because it's not like he's not going to get a contract and nothing. He just got paid. Yeah. But at the same time, if you want to, it was Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, right? That was the battle when they had that legendary playoff game. Mm-hmm. But ever since then, Joe Burrow has crept in, and now it's Mahomes and Burrow, right? Because Burrow beat Mahomes in the playoffs. He almost won the Super Bowl for Aaron Donald making a miraculous play and
beat them both.
Cooper Kupp having the season of his life. You know what I mean? But at the same time, Josh Allen, last year, he did regress, throwing picks when he wasn't supposed to. You know what I mean? Just taking off and running when guys are open. I think that's partially why Stephon Diggs kind of had that problem he had this offseason. I'm very curious to see what the Bills do We know Von Miller be back probably after game 4 or 5. But at the same time, they got dogs. You know what I mean? They got players on the team, but like you said, how can they put it together? So for the Bills, I'm gonna say the same thing. You gotta make it to that divisional round. There's no reason, and no disrespect to the Chargers and all the rest of them, that the Chiefs, Bengals, Jets, and Bills, they should all be in that area. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick a team that would fall short, I probably would say the Bills. But I think Josh Allen, he got something to prove this year. Stephon Diggs got something to prove this year, or I think he's gonna leave Buffalo. So I mean, it's tough, but I think both of those teams got high expectations, as they should. Let's get to these comments, man. Zach said, Jets fans should be worried about Rodgers' annual week 1 stinker. That is true. He usually comes out the gate slow. And I don't know if he could tell New York to relax, right? You know what I mean? Right. He could say that in Green Bay. I don't know if New York media, if they get off 0-5, which they do have a tough schedule, if he could just say relax. Like, I don't know if that's going to work. He also said, otherwise, they could be dangerous if Rodgers finds consistency with the new guys, right? We all know his connection with Devontae Adams, right? It's like, it was too easy. When in doubt, throw the ball to Devontae Adams. Now, Garrett Wilson is not Devontae Adams, but he is very good. How close can they get that connection? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think the thing about that is, this is why I mean they kind of cheat. They got the ultimate cheat code. They got Alan Lazard, who he's been throwing to for years. You got Randall Cobb, who he's been throwing to for years. Right. And the sneaky one they got is McCole Hardman, the speedster.
Yes, from Kansas City, absolutely.
Yep. So like they got weapons. They got weapons. They got 3. They got ones he's not familiar with yet, and then he's got ones he's very familiar with yet. So it's kind of like the best situation.
JR said we're gonna make swift work of the Pats this week. Philly fan in the house. Look, man, y'all got a whole revenge season of yourself to you know what I mean?
Don't
to
fall
make up
hangover.
For. Yeah. All right. Let's get into this next thing, man. The next thing we about to talk about is sleeper teams. Obviously, no surprise, Chiefs are favored to win the Super Bowl. So, Devontae, I asked you, who are your sleeper teams?
My sleeper teams. All right. So one sleeper team I got is the Dolphins.
Yep.
Dolphins are, I don't know why we've yes, I understand about Tua and all of that. I promise you I understand. If you look at the Dolphins are like a 4x1 track team, bro. They're lightning fast for no absolute reason. And they're really good. And if anybody thinks I'm crazy for saying that they're a sleeper team, they played against the Bills with Skylar Thompson and almost won. If Tua is in that game, they beat the Bills.
Right.
They beat the Bills. I don't think that's and that's not something that's crazy to say. They literally were giving the Bills the work with a third-string rookie quarterback. Right. So, and now that they just got Mike White, who I know the Jets is going to be in pain because I know the Jets is upset with that. So I really like the Dolphins. I think they're going to be really good, very sneaky a team. Another team you're not going to want to see. Now, we got my Pittsburgh Steelers at first. Why I'm going to put my Pittsburgh Steelers in there is because we're probably, I think my AFC North, it will be sending 3 teams to the playoffs this year. We're going to send the Ravens. We're going to send the Ravens. We're going to send the Bengals, and then we're going to send my Pittsburgh Steelers. Wild card. One of us is going to get the wild card. Who really cares? I think my Steelers are going to be another team you don't want to see. We have a very young, talented freak of nature in George Pickens. We still got Deontay Johnson. We still got Pat Freiermuth. We got a gigantic tight end now. We have our defense is going to be back to what it normally is.
Okay.
Which is normally top 5, top 10 always. And the thing about, if everybody thinks I'm crazy, if you look at what I told you all last year when we started off 2-6, I said we don't have TJ Watt. I'm not concerned. We get TJ Watt back, we went 8-2. I'm just saying, we don't do nothing but at least go 8-8. If anything, we don't lose. We don't have losing seasons. It's not what we do. So if you're telling me that TJ Watt never gets hurt, we can't win two more of those games. Come on now. No.
Shout out to Joe Caparelli who tuned in just in time. Big Steelers fan. Let's go, bro. Hope all is well.
Come on,
He's
man.
another Steelers fan though, so
Come on,
obviously.
man. I'm just saying, 2 more games. 2 more games at least put you in the playoffs.
Right.
So it's not crazy to say where we would be a sleeper team. Now, my last sleeper team is a team I think that's going to march to the divisional round, the New Orleans Saints. Why? Because one, you finally got Derek Carr back into he's with the person who gave him his most successful season.
Right. And who drafted him.
And who drafted him, gave him his most successful season where he was looking like an MVP. 2, people forgot Alvin Kamara is nice. You forgot they got dogs on that defense and Demario Davis. You forgot. Like, oh my goodness.
Honey Badgers
on that team. Yep. They got the DN on the team, number 94.
Cam Jordan.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
They have so many dogs on that team that like very slept on because they play in the NFC South. So like I think the Saints are gonna easily wipe the floor with that division. I'm not a fan. I don't trust Baker Mayfield. Mike Evans is always hurt. So is Chris Godwin. So with that being said, I think the Saints are going to be a team that people are really going to sleep on. They got Chris Olave on that team as well. So I think they're going to be a team you really don't want to see. And it's going to be really scary for people. And I think we're going to remember how good Derek Carr really is.
That's good, man. Obviously, Dolphins, Steelers, Saints, all 3 of those teams are good. I didn't count the Dolphins only because I think a lot of people, they respect Hill, Waddle. Tua is the question mark, right? The defense can improve, but Tua is that question mark. Like, is he going to be good? Is he not? That's really what we're talking about with the Dolphins. Steelers is a good pick. I didn't go with the Steelers only because I knew you would, right? I do agree on the Saints. I have them as well. So my sleepers teams for the year, the Browns. Let me start there. I think the AFC North, that division, is going to be one of the closest, tightest races we've seen in a long time.
Me too.
I think Deshaun Watson's going to get back to form. I think Amari Cooper is ready. I love, obviously, Chubb, the run game. Myles Garrett, obviously, we know the pressure he gets on the quarterback is crazy. Him against the run, I'd like to see more, but I know he's a veteran now. He's getting paid. He gets paid to put the quarterback on the ground, right? We know that. But at the same time, I think the Browns are going to be, I think they have a really good roster. I can make a case the Browns might have one of the best roster in that division, but we also know the curse of the Browns. You know what I mean? We also know the curse of the Browns. Something besides that time they beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs, something usually goes wrong with Cleveland, right? It always falls apart. We know that. The Browns have never even won the AFC North. The last time they won the division, it was at the Central, right? That's the stat I heard today. So we know about the Browns, but I do think they're going to be a very good team this year. I think the Bengals, who the Browns notoriously beat, the Ravens and the Steelers, they got their work cut out when the Browns come to town / when they go to Cleveland. You know what I mean? I think that's going to be a one. The next pick is the one I was kind of on, right? The Broncos. Look, Russell Wilson was atrocious last year. Absolutely atrocious. Nathaniel Hackett is back with Rodgers. You know what I mean? He's in New York now. Sean Payton's there. How do I feel about Sean Payton? I think he's a great offensive play caller. I do think he's a little bit overrated as a head coach. You know what I mean? But, like, I do think he's going to get the offense right. I know Tim Patrick, unfortunately, got hurt, probably out for the year, if not out for most of the year.
Yep.
I think with the running back coming back from injury, I think Sean Payton will clean up Russell Wilson in the offense. And that Broncos defense was already on go mode. You know what I mean? I think, once again, I think the Broncos are a sleeper team. They'll beat the Raiders. Don't worry about the Raiders because Josh McDaniels is their head coach. So put them to the side. You know what I mean? I think they'll split with the Chargers, and I actually think they'll split with Kansas City. Now, if Russell Wilson shows what he showed last year, right, and he's trash still, fine, you got me, right? I'll be glad to come back and say I'm wrong. I think we're going to see more of the Russ we saw in Seattle versus the Russ we saw last year. I think the Broncos will be the wild card. Chiefs are going to win the division. I think the Broncos are going to playoffs. Go ahead.
You think first off, you think the Broncos is beating the Chiefs at least once this year?
Yes, because last year they played them close, and the offense is trash. I think if the offense can throw up 28 points, I think they'll beat the Chiefs. Yes.
So you think the Broncos is beating the Chiefs, and
once,
you think just once, and you think the Broncos are going to the playoffs?
Wild card, 7th seed.
Hell no! Like hell no! Like no. One of the biggest reasons nobody talks about the Broncos is because they're the most overrated receiving core. They have like 4 receivers who do the same thing. Like,
right, okay.
Portland Sutton always hurt.
Right.
Always hurt. Jerry Jeudy always hurt.
Okay.
Javonte Williams, love him to death, always hurt. Like, when you look at that, well, obviously he's not a receiver, you know what I mean. But like when you look at the receivers, they kind of do the same thing. That's like one of their biggest problems. They do the exact same thing. If you look at the Eagles a year ago, before they got AJ Brown, all the receivers did the exact same thing. All drag routes. You had nobody to be over the top besides old 40-year-old Michael Jordan on the Wizards, Alshon Jeffrey. Who bro looked like he needed to be at the cookout and not on the field.
Okay.
Like, ask any Eagles fan about how they felt about Alshon Jeffrey before they got AJ Brown.
Right. Okay.
He had no business on the field.
Okay.
And that's exactly how I look at the Browns. And I actually like Tim Patrick. But like, no. The Broncos need a lot more work to get to where they need to be.
All right. Okay. Let me get to the Saints. The reason why I bring up the Saints specifically, look, and no, it's not just biased because Derek Carr was a quarterback of the Raiders. I say this because I've seen Derek Carr play because I'm a fan of the Raiders, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Saints defense can drop 20 spots this year. They were 5 last year. They could drop 20 spots this year, and it will still be the best defense Derek Carr has ever played with.
That's true.
They could be the 25th ranked defense, and that'll be the best defense Carr's ever played behind them. By the way, the time he had when they won 12 games, he had the 26th ranked defense. And when they last year, when they went to the playoffs and they won 10, they had the 20. Yeah, actually, both times they had the 26th ranked defense. So look, Carr has his own problems. Sometimes the deep ball is too far. Sometimes the short passes are too shallow, whatever, right? He had a bad season last year. He threw picks. I think that, along with having Kamara, once he gets back from suspension, I think Michael Thomas is back, but he doesn't have to be what he was because Olave is there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Jawan Johnson as a tight end. I like what they did with that. He doesn't really block well, so they went out and got Foster Moreau from the Raiders. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the defense is the defense. They're really good. So obviously they're not going to drop 20 spots in rank. I think this is going to be one of the first times where Derek Carr can throw up 17 points and win a game.
Mm-hmm.
He's never had that. You know what I mean? He's never had that before where he could do that, where he can go 20 points and win the game. He's always had to win 31-28, 28-24. You know what I mean? He's always had to win those games. That's why I think he actually has a good chance to go to do that. Now, let's get to these comments because people had their sleeper picks. All right. Let's go. Kicking off. JR said, if Tua pops a tic-tac wrong, he'll have a concussion. Damn, man. You don't got to do all that, JR. Yo,
Lord,
come on, bro.
Zach
said, Seattle, Jacksonville, and Pittsburgh are the sleepers. Seattle and Jacksonville, good. I'm just not going to say Seattle because of last year, right? Both of those
I wasn't going to say Jacksonville because of last year.
Right. Both of those teams, they made the playoffs. But those are good picks.
I had them.
Reggie Brown was good, bro. Steelers and Lions are sleepers. Lions are a good pick.
I got the Lions winning the North, so like I didn't want to pick them as a sleeper.
Yeah.
I had them winning the division. Like,
I think the Lions have too high of expectations for me to pick them as a sleeper, but I get why people would though. I'm not mad at that. He also said Jets are pretenders, 6-11. Yo, Jets go 6-11. People getting fired. Rodgers need to retire.
Like, it's a wrap at that point. Oh my!
Because they got defensive players saying that they're going to be as good as the 85 Bears did this year. Every year, there's always somebody who does that. You know what I mean? Like, no, they won't be as good as the 85 Bears. They won't be good as the Legion of Boom Seahawks, the 02 Bucks, the 2000 Ravens. I go the 08 Steelers. I mean, 05 Steelers. I can go on and on.
No, the
right?
08 Steelers too. Like,
all right, relax. You said, if your mom is a Steelers fan, I'll smash. Okay.
Alrighty then.
He said, new to the podcast. I predict the Steelers they're going to go 12
We're going 12
this year. You heard it here first.
Let them know. I don't know about the first part of that, but like, I'll let them know. That first part was a little scary, but let them know. Talk.
Okay. LeBron Bethel was good, bro. Was good. Said Steelers need a QB1. I'm sorry. Steelers need a QB1. Pickett ain't ready.
Yeah, LeBron. Yeah, all right.
He also said Jets are overrated. They haven't been good since Rex and Sanchez. Their head coach record is like what? 11-23.
It has been terrible.
Saleh, I think, is a good defensive coordinator. The jury's still out on him as a head coach, right? We know they got off to a good start last year, then it all fell apart. With Rodgers here, this is what I mean when I say it's go mode. You know what I mean? No more excuses. Everybody cried for the quarterback. You got him. Zach Wilson had to be benched, wouldn't be allowed in the locker room and all that. That's all gone. Rodgers is in town now. LeBron said, Giants run New York, go Big Blue. Okay, so that's where this is coming from.
That's where the delusion is coming from. Okay. No,
that's where this is coming from.
Duly noted. Okay.
Reggie said, Najee Harris, comeback player of the year.
Comeback player of the year is DeMar Hamlin for stepping on the field. Let's be real here.
Absolutely.
It was good. The day, like the moment he walks on the field for a play, he's comeback player of the year.
Yeah. I agree with that. Let's see. JR said, he didn't get ranked. Okay. All right. LeBron said Lions shouldn't be mentioned in the same sentence as Super Bowl ever. I'm not saying we're not saying they're gonna win the bowl. No, just saying I expect the Lions to win that division. I do. And we're gonna get into our division picks when we get to a way too early pick. I see we got the rundown on the side now, right? All right, man. So the next thing we get into, Devontae, we're going to switch gears to college real quick. Deion Sanders, primetime, Coach Prime, took his Colorado, which everyone was saying, does he deserve the job? Can he coach on that level? Son, Shedeur Sanders, can he play on that level? Travis Hunter, we know he was the number one recruit in the country. Why would he go to Jackson State? Is he really good? You know what I mean? They went to TCU, number 17 in the country, beat them 45-42. Shedeur Sanders, 510 yards, 4 touchdowns. Dylan Edwards, freshman, first ever college game, 135 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns. Travis Hunter, of course, had the damn near iconic pick where he went to go guard the slant, still made it out to the flats to pick off the pass. It's one game, so ain't nobody going crazy or nothing right now. We know they ain't going to win the national championship. They probably won't even make the college football playoffs, right? But it's game one. The spread was 20 points. They thought TCU was going to beat Colorado by 20 points, and they lost. Some say it's more TCU than it is Colorado, but game one, that's all we have to go off. They obviously played Nebraska on Saturday. Are you impressed with what Coach Prime and Colorado did on Saturday?
Hell yeah. When I didn't even know Colorado had a football team. That's how irrelevant they've been until Prime got there. First off, what this does for college football is incredible, okay? So
right.
Basically, if he sends these kids after their, what do you have, 3 years now in college football?
Yep.
So like if these kids get to the NFL, do you know what this does? This shows that you can go to any other program and still make it in the NFL and still be a household name. Because yes, there's a bunch of other players who like one of my favorites, one of my crazy favorites, Antonio Brown went to Central Michigan. He went to Michigan. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like not even big Michigan Wolverines. Like you know what I mean? But like obviously he got to the league and got his shot. But when we're talking about big name college kids coming out that you're knowing, you're normally talking what? Your Power 5 schools. You're normally talking your Alabamas, your LSUs, your Georgias. Maybe you're talking your Ohio States a little bit. But you're not really talking about schools like Colorado,
right?
Who can have dogs. Sauce Gardner been locking everybody down. Sauce Gardner went to Cincinnati, like like bro. So like, what this does for college football alone is incredible. Now, I don't want to hear nobody talk about this game in any negative fashion. TCU was in the national championship last year,
right?
don't do this now, because don't give the Rudy Award out now, because last year everyone's like, oh, maybe does TCU have a chance? We all knew no way in hell they was beating Georgia.
right.
We all knew that. Cut that out. But y'all had them plus 20 because of what? They were just in the national championship.
Right.
And he took these boys, freshmen, went in there and beat the runner-up of last year. How is that not? You can't tell me that's not impressive, especially when you got a bunch of freshmen playing. Because and all that even shows is a dog is a dog no matter what. No matter what grade they are, no matter what, a dog is a dog, and a dog is going to play. It's about the opportunities you give, and about the opportunities and how do you motivate people. And honestly, first off, you're playing for one of the greatest cornerbacks ever to live on the planet. Two, more importantly, bro, when you see Michael Irvin on your sideline and like how was you not? Right. You got all these stars looking at you, like you have they got a background that most schools would kill to have. Right. So they're in a big prime, literally a big prime time slot every week now. Yep. Now, do I think they're going to the bowl? No. Do I think they're going to? Are they going to the college football playoffs? No. But I think they're going to have enough to build. They're going to be able to recruit more often and get more kids to come and play for them because of what this is bigger than football.
Right.
To wrap it up.
Now, so a lot I agree with. One of the things that when I watched that game, and I watched the entire game start to finish.
Me too.
I remember when Deion Sanders was on Shannon Sharp's podcast, Club Shay. Shout out to them. And he told Shannon, my skill players can play with anybody in the country. I'm worried about the big guys up front on both sides of the ball. And watching that game at TCU, the receivers couldn't get open on Travis Hunter. Meanwhile, he was getting open on the TCU corners.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Edwards looked like he was the fastest person on the field. Shedeur Sanders, with his patience and his pocket presence, was carving him up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But TCU got some pressure on Shedeur, and on the defensive side, they couldn't stop the run. And what is the run predicated on? Offensive line. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It just looked like a matchup, even size-wise, was a mismatch. Mm-hmm. So obviously, going forward this year, that's going to be the thing. The reason why they can't compete with Alabama and Clemson, who I know lost, and Florida State, you know what I mean, and these teams is they're going to get manhandled in the trenches every time, right? So no, I agree. They're not going to the college football playoffs. But what something like this does, and Prime being there, is guess what's going to start happening? And I already hear coaches complaining about it. They're saying that Deion has an unfair recruiting advantage because he won. He's Deion Sanders, right? So he can go into a household. Oh, Deion's coming. It's not Coach Saban, right? It's Deion's coming, right? And now what people are saying is those big offensive guards from Texas and Virginia and Florida and Ohio, some of them are going to go to Colorado. Some of those big defensive 6'8", 325, run a 4.5 somehow, they might go to Colorado. So in the years coming, they're going to be able to compete. Now, my response to that is, what do you think it was when Alabama had Coach Saban coming to the house?
My God.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
Coach
my
Saban.
God.
We got Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy and Julio
Derrick
Jones
Henry,
and
Josh
Derrick
Jacobs.
Henry, Josh Jacobs. These are all the guys that came from our program come here.
Scarborough. Like, there's so many of them.
Georgia is a defensive factory. So when the recruiter goes there, it's, we sent all these guys to the league. But now that it's Colorado doing it, you know what I mean? Now that it might happen because it hasn't happened yet, now it's a problem. So, of course, I'm impressed with what Prime did and his crew. Yeah. Shedeur's 510 yards passing is 510 yards passing. 4 touchdowns, 0 picks. He had, I think, 11 or 12 incompletions total.
First off, for a black quarterback, we're stereotyped at where black quarterbacks are stereotyped as just scramblers.
Right.
They can only throw on the run. He did most of that in the pocket.
99% in the pocket, I think the next level stat was, right?
Yes. Like, come on, bro.
Now, obviously, they got a game against Nebraska. They should beat Nebraska. They got some big games on there. They got USC. I think it was Florida State. I could be wrong on that one though. But obviously, People were saying if they win 3 games, it's an improvement. They only won 1 last year, and now they already got that first win.
They already won
against a ranked opponent. So, of course, I'm impressed. Let's get to the comments. All right. JR said Sanders will be Rensselaer Rams coach by this time the year's over. All right.
All right. Relax. All right,
bro. Zach said, very impressed with Coach Prime. He is really a true leader, and man, that pregame speech had me fired up. Absolutely, man.
Amen to that.
Look, man, like, again, some folks say it's not fair, and I'm like, okay, but all the other schools had the same advantage for years. You know what I mean?
Well, you told me you're DB, you're not going to go to LSU?
Mister, if your mom's a Steelers fan, I'll smash said, I hope Corey Trice comes back. Steelers, of course, fired next year. I thought he was going to do good with JP, but with JP Jr., but injuries happen.
I don't even want to talk about the Corey Trice injury. Oh, he was going to be my sleeper DB. I was so in pain when he got hurt. JPJ, but thank God we got Patrick Peterson in the free agency. We spent bread in free agency, by the way. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that another time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Levante Armwell was good, bro. He said Travis Hunter going number 1 if he keep balling like this, playing both sides of the field.
Yes, that's a stat you're never gonna, bro. Come on,
insane.
That's crazy. In college, oh my god,
bro. My guy had late in the 4th quarter after playing both sides all game. He had a pass deflection and then went down on offense and caught a huge third down. That's probably the game over. If not, you know what I mean,
bro. Insane. Then if he didn't have one of his feet, if he didn't bobble the ball like from the ground, he would have had a touchdown too. He got a crazy catch in the end zone. Absolutely.
Said Colorado is a Power 5. They're a Power 5 school, but that don't mean they top 5. Like, we're not doing that yet. We're not doing that yet.
Chill out.
JR said, what was Irvin doing snorting lines on the field? Oh my
Jesus Christ.
We know we got an Eagle fan in the aisles when these comments start coming. God. He said, by the way, Rensselaer Rams will be trying to sign you this year.
I'm retired, man.
Them days is over, bro. Them days is over. Best of luck, though. All right. Next up, we're going to get into our way too early picks. These are the early bird picks. Obviously, we're going to pick the Super Bowl. We're going to pick the conference champions, and we're going to pick the division winners. I will mark them down to have a spreadsheet so throughout the year, at the end of the year, we can see where we fell off. So, Devontae, I'm going to start with you. We're not ranking like who's going to finish where. Just give me the top pick in each one, right? Okay. So, who do you have? We'll start in the NFC. NFC West, obviously, you got 49ers, you got the Rams, you got the Seahawks, you got the Cardinals. Who do you got winning the the NFC West?
Well, the 49ers. The 49ers, they're just the better complete team. Like their roster is just ridiculous, bro. It's really hard to beat. Like, I think the Seahawks obviously will always propose a threat, but bro, with Bosa, Javon Hargrave now, like Brandon Ayuk, like George Kittle, Tebow Samuels, bro. They got Christian McCaffrey, bro. They got too many weapons, bro, on that team to where when you bring in when you got your 3rd string quarterback in and they're still making it tough for the Eagles.
Right.
Come on, bro.
Look, absolutely agree. We both have 49ers. Defense is lethal. It's not even it's lethal. Bro. The run game with McCaffrey a full year, it's going to be lethal. The offensive line is really good. Brock Purdy, literally, part of the reason what makes him good is he's accurate, right? And one of the reasons he's so accurate is because he has all day to throw. You know what I mean?
Amen to that. Right.
So, I think the Niners are going to win the division. I do think Seattle probably will make the playoffs, but that's a wild card. But I think they're going to win the division. All right. Next up, we got the NFC North. What you got?
Oh, Detroit. I got Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah, I got Detroit. Easy winning that division.
Easy? Like, how many games we talking about?
I see Detroit at least winning 11 games.
Damn. 11 games.
10, 11 games. Like 10 and 11 games. I think the only game they'll lose maybe in their division is I think they'll lose in Chicago. That's about it. I think they're gonna sweep the Bears. I mean, the Packers.
So, okay. So I agree. I do pick the Lions to win. That's why I didn't have them as a sleeper team, right? But at the same time, I don't know about 11 games. I
I
was
think the
thinking
NFC
more.
is too easy, bro. I think not easy, but like, I think the NFC is not as competitive as you think it is.
I was thinking more like 9. Close. I think that division is going to be close. I don't think the Vikings are
Game
bad.
swing.
I don't think the Vikings are bad. They just won a bunch of close games last year. So, and obviously it comes back to haunt you. You'll lose some close games, heartbreaking fashion, right? Green Bay, I think Jordan Love will be good, not great. And I think they'll just fall under, right? And I think Chicago's going to take a step up, but not quite there yet. So I do agree with the Lions winning the division. I just think it's going to be more like 9 games with, let's say the Bears or the Vikings or whoever finishes second winning 8.
All right, so I agree with you. They'll lose one to Minnesota. I forgot about Minnesota, but one thing I will tell you about Minnesota is Minnesota I kind of forgot about, but I will say this about Minnesota. It depends on what time they play at. If they play at 1 o'clock, I might pick Minnesota to win the division. If they play at 1 o'clock all year, I'm picking Minnesota by far to win the division. If they get like any primetime games, automatic L. We all know Kirk Cousins only play at 1 o'clock. Only play at 1 o'clock. That's all he do is play at 1 o'clock. That's the only time he's good.
That's hilarious. All right. Next up, we got the NFC South. Obviously, Saints, Bucks, Panthers, and then of course we got the Atlanta Falcons.
I think the Falcons are going to be better, but I got the Saints winning this division kind of clear with their division too. I don't think that's not a shocker. I think people picking the Saints to win that division. I think the worst team in the division is going to be a toss-up between the Buccaneers and the Panthers, to be honest.
So you think Falcons are going to take a step up?
Yep. I got the Falcons in second place.
Okay. So I agree with the Saints, man. I think Derek Carr to go along with Lave, Juwan Johnson, Foster, Kamara. They now have Williams, who came over from Detroit. You know what I mean? Obviously, I think that's going to be a big thing. Michael Thomas being back is huge too, of course. The defense is just good. It's really the defense. I do like Derek Carr, but the defense is where it's at. That's why I think the Saints will win that division. I do think Tampa will finish in second. I don't think Atlanta's quite ready. No, I do not believe in Baker. But I think what the Bucks have around them is just better than what the Falcons are going to be able to produce. That's all.
Okay.
All right. So next up, of course, we got the NFC East, who sent 3 teams to the playoffs last year. What do you got for the NFC East?
I got the Eagles. I think the Eagles will win that division. I just think they're going to beat everybody in that division twice.
I think they're going to sweep the division.
They're going to sweep the division.
Wow. That is
on top of that, I think they're going to sweep the division, and the closest game they're going to have is going to be against the Giants.
So now we got our first disagreement. I know my man JR is in the chat. It's time.
What? You picked the Cowboys?
I think it's time. Look, now I'm not saying this in the sense of I'm slamming my fist on the desk. You know what I mean? Like, I know for a fact what's going to happen. Here's why I'm saying this. If the Cowboys do not win the division, right? Because I think they're going to the playoffs regardless. They're going to get one of the wild card spots. Sure. I think if the Cowboys do not win the division, I think the only player that might be left is Michael Parsons and Jerry Jones. I think it's over. Now, you know how I feel about Dak Prescott, right? He starts out somehow every year top 10, and by the end he finishes top 15, right?
He's just all right.
Right. He's all right. But I'm telling you, what Stephon Gilmore brings to that defense, because you know my hesitation on Diggs. He's good at catching INTs when most corners drop him. He's a little on the coverage side. Stephon Gilmore, he don't always catch the INTs, but he's excellent on the coverage side. We know who ended that game for the Colts against Patrick Mahomes last year. It was Gilmore. You know what I mean? The coverage is good, right? The big dude who they got in the draft, I think he's going to be a problem. Stuffing the run.
Mozzie Smith.
Yeah, Mozzie, right. Mozzie Smith. rushing the passer, I don't even think he's going to be on pass rush downs, right? But stuffing the run, I think that's going to be a good thing. And Philly, they lost Sanders. Now, I'm not saying their run game is going to be trash. I'm not saying that. I think if Philly wins the division, I would not be surprised. I'm just saying, I think this is the year where Dallas's defense levels up. And the only question I have is, can Dak Prescott and the offense kind of, you know what I mean? Kind of match it. That's my only hesitation to pick to pick Philly, is because I think Dallas's defense is going to be top 5 in the league.
Ain't no way in hell I'm picking Dallas. Ain't no way in hell. Ain't no way in hell. Hell no. No.
Look.
Teach your own. All
right. Before we get to the AFC side, does 3 teams come out the East again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's get to the AFC. We'll start again. AFC West.
Kansas City Chiefs. 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 I think the Chargers will be better. They got a real good receiver in Quentin Johnson. Shout out to them for that. Yep. They finally got like a real big deep threat on their team now. I think, even though I personally think Austin Eckler is the most overrated running back in the entire league, I swear he's only good for fantasy. I swear to God, he's only good for fantasy points. Like he is so overrated. Like, I don't see how, like, everybody swear he's so nice. He's okay to me. He's all right. But I think the Chargers will be better. I think they'll be better. I think Joey Bosa is still overrated. I think Khalil Mack is at the end of his career, to be honest with you, because a lot of injuries. Sure. But I think, could they sneak a game against the Chiefs? Yes, they have the offense capable enough to do it. Do I think they'll beat the Chiefs twice in a row? Hell no. Do I think they'll have enough to beat the Chiefs out of the first seed without Chris Jones for like the first 40 games or whatever? No, not at all.
Okay. All right. Take a break real quick. We're gonna get to these comments. I know.
Good luck with that. They're about to be frying you for them Cowboys.
Sure
for that Cowboy coat. Like,
that's
what?
Okay. I stand on it. like, all right. Brock Purdy is going to get that arm broke again. Brady said, NFC, Seattle, New Orleans, Detroit, Philly, AFC, Jets, KC, Jacksonville, Baltimore. All right, so we'll just tackle the NFC side real quick, and then we'll come back to it. So Seattle over the Niners. That's a big one. Obviously, the Niners look dominant. We'll see. New Orleans, we agree, of course. Detroit, we agree. Philly, he agreed with you, obviously. Philly fan, no. If your mom's a Steelers fan, I'll smash. I'll never get tired of that name.
Yeah, that's wild.
Who y'all think we should be looking out for college-wise on quarterbacks if Kenny doesn't show up for the task? I prefer a black quarterback. Yo, hold that thought.
That's hilarious.
Hold that thought. At the end of the show, I will give the floor to Devontae, and he'll get into that.
Oh, my God.
Hold that thought. I did start a comment, so don't worry. We will come back to that. LeBron said, Lions in the word winning don't sound right. Minnesota wins the North easily. What's your thoughts on that?
It's not crazy. Easily is a stretch in my opinion. But it's not crazy because they got Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is an absolute dog. I'm not this big fan of their running back Madison. I think he's high at best. Like, I think they're kind of over. I think they kind of played with the value of Dalvin Cook a little bit. Yeah. But they're all right. Their defense is edge. They don't even got Zadarius Smith no more. So it's like I'm kind of concerned on their pass rushing ability, what that's going to look like. But they do got 2 dog receivers in Justin Jefferson and their rookie Jordan Addison. That's a guy right there. So, but once again, bro, I don't pick Minnesota, bro, if it's not at 1:00. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I am not picking Kirk if it's not at 1:00.
All right. Levante said Tampa defense is going to keep them in games. I do agree. I think the defense is still good. Yeah. Obviously, I think they're going to keep them in games. It's just I don't trust Baker. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He said, just say it, boys. EHGLES Eagles. He said, what? You took too many COVID. Yo, man. Yo, obviously, you know Philly. I picked them to win the Super Bowl. Obviously, I thought they'd beat the Chiefs. And it looked right until the fumble and things happened. Mahomes is great. Cool. But it's just, I think Dallas, just like Philly took that leap last year, and not to say Hurts wasn't a part of it because he was, but that defense was locking teams down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think that's how Dallas is going to look this year. It's just, can Dak do what Hurts did in terms of elevating his play, not even to outshine the defense, but just match their level. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If he can, then I think I'll be right about Dallas. That's just the question. If not, I think he's going to be jobless. Levante said, Cowboys don't win nothing. Dak will fail again in another year. His hairline will recede. Damn. And Zach said, Sanders isn't as big of a loss as you think.
It's really not.
It's
really not
okay.
with DeAndre Swift. It's really not. They kind of do
Okay.
the same. They do the same thing.
Okay, we'll see. Swift, he getting hurt though, but okay.
So Miles Sanders, Miles Sanders is always hurt. Like,
that's fair. All right, let's jump back into these picks. Obviously, we're gonna go AFC West. We both agree. Now, obviously, we're gonna shift gears and we're gonna go to your division, Devontae. AFC North.
AFC North. I kind of wanted to put them as my sleeper team, but like I feel like they're going to be too good to even put that as a sleeper team. But I need people to wake up. The Baltimore Ravens are going to win my division, and it disgusts me to say that. It absolutely disgusts me to say that.
Okay.
Because one thing we forget, like, if we're all being honest, okay, we're all being honest. Lamar Jackson beat those Bengals and will beat those Bengals last year. Remember, they're the backup quarterback. If he didn't just try to leap over and fumble, and they ran it back for a touchdown,
right?
The Ravens win that game.
Yeah.
People are going to, I think this is going to be the year that people really remember how good Lamar Jackson is. Because you remember last year, he had the ankle injury and the knee injury, so he sat out for the rest of the year. He was holding out, trying to get his new contract. He got the new contract. Then nobody's talking about all the improvements that they got. They're going to have a full year of Roquan Smith now.
Right.
They just got Zadarius Smith from the Vikings.
Right.
Then you look at the receivers. I don't know if you know anything about college receivers. Zay Flowers is gross as a route runner.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They finally gave Lamar a wide receiver, a true wide receiver. And then he got OBJ coming back off of an ACL injury. We're going to see how OBJ is, but we know what OBJ looked like before when he was playing on the Rams.
He
was murdering.
Really
he was really cooking.
Yep.
So, like, they finally, and then, of course, you got Mr. Consistent in Mark Andrews.
Right.
And then, more importantly, the thing that scares me to death about the Ravens, like always, and scares the Bengals to death, they punch you dead in your face at all times.
Right.
They when you want to run the ball, okay. You want to talk about a team that can score with the Chiefs and stuff like that? They do it running the ball.
Right.
And then one of the most important things you do in the playoffs, if you can run the ball. You ain't gonna win the Super Bowl if you can't run the ball. And it happens every year.
Sure.
So I gotta go with the Ravens.
All right. This one was the one that like hurt because I was like, yo, I could pick any of the 4 teams. I could make a legit case for any of the 4 teams, you know what I mean, to win the division. Well, I got to go with the Bengals. I think they've been there, right? In a lot of these tight games. Pickett is still new. Lamar's been there. And Deshaun Watson's been a while since he's been there, right? So I think the Bengals, I think their offensive line is going to be a little better than last year just because they played together. Obviously, some key departures on the defensive side. Okay, but obviously, Burrow, Chase, Higgins, Boyd, Mixon, you know what I mean? I think the offense in the end, everything you said about the Ravens is true. I'm not even mad at that. And what's good, Jared? Hang on tight because we about to get to the AFC East. He's a Dolphins fan. That's your division. Hang on tight. I just think the Bengals, I think they have that. Like what the same with the Chiefs. You know, sometimes you're like, yo, that team should beat the Chiefs. But the Chiefs make a play or two and they win that game. That's kind of how I view the Bengals in this division. And nobody's sweeping anybody in this division. I think they're all going to split, right? But I think the Bengals will do, a better job of not falling for the trap game. You know what I mean? Now we'll see what Burrow. I know he's been gimpy with the calf and everything like that. Obviously, they can get out to a bad start, and my whole prediction goes out the window, right? But at the same time, I think when it's all said and done, I think they're going to win a division. I agree with you with everything you said about the Ravens. I just think Cincy will do that. I actually like how the Ravens look.
The Bengals secondary is sketchy.
Yeah. So I like that. Cleveland was my sleeper team, and you know why, and you know how I feel about Pittsburgh. I think they're actually going to have the best defense in the league.
I can't stand
the league.
I
My
can't.
question with the Steelers is Najee Harris, because we saw Jacobs last year take that leap. You know what I mean? Led the league in rushing. There's no reason why I think Najee can't be that. It's just, will he? You know what I mean?
I think we're gonna run a 2 running back system now. I don't think he has to. That's the scary part about. That's where I'm like hype about my team, where it's like we can run the ball if we want to, and that's not rather than last year we had no choice.
Right.
That's the difference.
All right. So yeah. All right. Next up, AFC East. Obviously, that's a big one. The Bills, the Dolphins, obviously New York Jets, and of course the New England Patriots.
Damn.
AFC
man.
East. Who you got?
Oh, I hate picking this division. Oh my god. No, I hate picking this division. It's literally like heads or tails for me. If I had to pick, I guess I had to pick. I'm going to pick the Bills. And only reason why, cause I just think somehow, it's gonna come down to like the thinnest of thin. And I just have a feeling that Bill Belichick is gonna screw the Jets over again and beat the Jets. like every year it happens every year. I just feel like that's gonna be one tradition that just kind of somehow slides in there. Bill Belichick's Patriots are gonna screw it up for everybody. And I think the Bills will somehow edge it in like some type of weird tie or something like that.
Sure.
So I'm gonna rock with the Bills for that one.
This one was tough. Not as tough as the North, because in the North there's all 4 teams I see. You know what I mean? Like same level, basically, right? Mm-hmm. This one, it was tough too. It was tough to pick. The only thing I'm like almost sure in is that New England will finish last, right? The other 3 teams to me is a toss-up because they each have something that makes them special, right? Mm-hmm. But I gotta say, in a kind of a sleeper upset, I'm actually going with Miami to win this division.
Okay.
I think the reason why is I think the Jets next year, right, are going to be as good as people think they're going to be this year. I don't think they're going 6-11 like Reggie thinks. But I think they're definitely going to the playoffs, right? Here's what happens. I don't trust the Jets nor the Bills with their expectations and the world on their back to they'll get up to play the Chiefs. They'll get up to play, you know what I mean? The Bengals. Can they go out and take care of business against everybody else, right? That's what I'm worried about. And I think what's going to happen is late in the year, Miami, Buffalo, and the Jets are all going to be fighting, right? And I think what's going to happen is I think one of these games against either the Bills or the Jets or even both, I think a guy like Tyreek Hill, Waddle, is going to make that one play that edge. So when I say they win the division, I'm talking like one got 11 wins, like tiebreaker type win the division.
I hear that.
So I got the Dolphins winning this division. It's not going to be easy because I think the Jets are going to be good, and I think the Bills are going to be good. And then last but not least, of course, the AFC South.
Jacksonville. I ain't worried about the Titans. I just think they got too many quarterback issues. I don't think the 3 quarterbacks they got ain't none of them gonna amount up to anything.
Absolutely agree. I think Jags are the best, and like by default. No disrespect to the rest of the guys, but I think Jacksonville's just the best. All right, let's get to these comments, and then we'll get our conference championship, Super Bowl picks. We'll get to what games to look out for this weekend. Then we'll get out of here. Appreciate everybody coming, kicking it with us as we kick off the NFL season. All right. LV said, Levante said, Lamar is filthy. I hate that Madden made bro trash in this game here. I was thinking the Ravens could win the Super Bowl. Yo, the Ravens are live, man. The Ravens are live. Obviously, Marlon Humphrey's getting hurt is a big deal. But at the same time, if that offense could get clicking on both sides and the defense, they're gonna be a strong team. I'm not mad at that. AFC North, Baltimore, Steelers, Cleveland, Cincinnati. Burrow going to be injured this year. I see it coming.
If only God can hope. Like, if only God can hope, bro. If only God can hope.
Look, man, I'm saying if they don't protect him like they haven't these last few years, he will get hurt. You know what I mean?
I think Cleveland gonna be at the bottom of the division again, like always.
LeBron said Bills are the best in the East. Okay.
I
Jared, the Dolphins fans. I know he hyped, but he said, I thought he was going to say the Jets.
no. It's slightly Bills, slight edge.
LeBron said their defense can't close, though. Okay. He said Tua stays healthy, Miami winning the division. That's the big one, right? The health, the concussion. Yep. We know, like, obviously, I think Tua is going to, I think he's basically going to shut up the noise, prove that he can last. I know he's had injuries going back to Bama. Hell, he even had injuries in high school. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think he's ready this year. Jared also said Miami should have beat the Bills last year in the playoffs. Skylar Thompson.
Yep.
No Tua. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. I forgot about that. Forgot about that. All right. If your mom's a Steelers fan, East, I'm gonna go with the Bills. West, I'm gonna pick the Chiefs, and for the South, I'm gonna pick Miami's in the East. The North, I don't really care about, and didn't mean to put Baltimore in front of us in the division.
It's all good, bro. It's all good, bro. It's all good. We going to the playoffs no matter what. It don't really matter. We going to the playoffs no matter what.
Glenn Foreman, year of the Bengals. we knew it was coming somewhere. We knew it was coming. All right, LeBron. I have Waddle and Hill on my fantasy team. Go Fins. All right, y'all. We about to get into the conference championship picks. Obviously, it's way too early. We don't know who's going to be hurt or not. So, but we are going to track these to see if we became right at the end of the year. So give us your conference championship picks now. Devontae, I'll start with you. We'll start in the NFC. Give me your conference championship for NFC championship.
I got to look to see what I picked. I know I picked the Chiefs. I could not remember for the life of me.
NFC.
Oh, you said NFC?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Eagles 49ers rematch. I had an Eagles 49ers rematch. And once again, I had the Eagles beating the 49ers, but this time by a field goal.
Damn. Really?
Yep. I think it's going to be close. It's going to be a different game than what they had as last year. Because I think this time you're going to actually have Purdy in the actual game being protected. We're actually going to see we're actually going to get to see a full game. And I think out of any team in the NFC, the Niners give them the most trouble. Just because of how their offense. If you look at how the defensive line of the Eagles are very big. And besides, you have Hassan Reddick, right?
Right.
But the thing the Niners do very well is they run a very well outside zone. And they use a lot of. They can run a toss. They can run inside the tackles. They do so many quirky, weird things that can get your pass rushers out of position to make big plays down the line. This year, besides Darius Slay, they don't really got no say. They really don't have a real good secondary because they lost so many people in free agency. So I think if I had to pick anybody in the NFC to go against the Eagles to give them the best chance is probably gonna be the Niners, but I still got the Eagles winning anyway.
That's tough. Okay. All right. Damn, I'm trying to think. You got a rematch. You know how hard that is for that to happen. All right. So for me, I'm not mad at that pick though, because obviously both teams are dominant. I'm gonna actually go with a sleeper game that I think is gonna happen. And that's the New Orleans Saints versus the 49ers. So we agree on the 49ers, right? I think the defense, I think the 49ers are actually going to have the second best defense in the league behind Pittsburgh. I just think here's what I think is going to play out. I think something is going to happen, unfortunately. Dallas and Philly in the playoffs, right? And I think the Saints are going to win the division. I think the 49ers are going to win theirs. I think they're both going to knock out Philly or Dallas. Well, I have Dallas winning the division. You have Philly, right? And then obviously the other one would be a wild card. And I think what's going to happen is I think the Saints with their defense, I think they can stifle Dallas. Philly's a tougher game, but I think the Saints' defense can stifle Dallas. And I think the offense will be good enough, and I think the Saints actually will get to the NFC Championship where they will lose to the Niners. So obviously you already know who I have as my one Super Bowl pick. I have San Fran going to the Super Bowl. JR Brady, I already know Philly fans. Yeah, whatever.
Good luck.
But I actually have the Saints and the Niners. You have the 49ers and the Eagles. Let's get their picks on the NFC Championship, and then we'll get into the AFC. All right. Nicky John, what's good, bro? Appreciate you checking out the show, man. He said NFC conference winner and Super Bowl winner. We're going to get to that.
Okay.
Who's yours, bro? He said Giants.
Okay. No. No. Okay. Next.
I see what he did.
Next.
Okay.
Just move forward.
Okay. Zach said Philly, Detroit, Philly, and they said Baltimore, KC, Baltimore. So obviously we know he has Eagles and the Ravens, the Bird Bowl, basically. Yep. Eagles and the Ravens. T Live, what's good, bro? He said, will the Vikings quarterbacks step up this year?
Wait, hold on, T. I got you. It depends on what time you play, bro. It all depends on what time you play. You play at 1 o'clock, they're gonna lock down. They're gonna look like sauce out there. But if it's at 4 o'clock, 4, 6 o'clock, 4, 6:30 or 8, it's not gonna happen, bro. Prime time don't do good on y'all. That's all.
That's hilarious. All right, let's get to the next comment. All right, that's hilarious. Yeah, and my answer is no. Levante said, who you guys got for Cowboys, Giants, Bills, Jets? All right, so I actually picked the Jets to beat the Bills open tonight, and I picked actually the Dallas will beat the Giants open tonight.
Devontae? I got the Jets and I got the Giants beating the Cowboys.
There you go.
For the first time, week 1.
Then Zach said, of course, Philly, Baltimore for the chip birds. If your mom's still fan, smash Eagles and Saints. If I have to pick in the NFC, okay. So we kind of agree on the Saints. Obviously, I had the Niners. You know what I mean? You did have Philly, but you didn't have the Saints. You had Philly and the Niners. Okay.
Yep.
Glenn Form is good. Pops. He said NFC Eagles versus Rams Eagles.
No, because already, Cooper Kupp's already out with this hamstring injury, so I don't trust it.
Is he?
Yep.
What the hell, man?
He's already having them hamstring issues again, so like I don't trust it. Matt Stafford's coming back from like a spine injury or whatever. I don't trust it.
Right. All right, Monte. Time to get to the AFC. Write down, if you haven't already, write down who you got in the AFC Championship this year. We know it's way too early. Injuries can happen. This is the way too early. The early bird picks. AFC Championship calming down. Devontae, who do you got?
This was tough. And I got a sour taste in my mouth saying this. I like a very sour taste in my mouth saying this. This is disgusting.
Okay.
With that being said, I have the Ravens going into the AFC Championship versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
You all right, man?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. That was disgusting to say. That was disgusting to say. Because I think what's gonna happen is I think we're gonna get one of those weird oddball. Because I think I have the Chiefs team winning the 1 seed, so I think we're gonna get like one of those like oddball wildcard spots where we're gonna beat the first team, and then we're gonna have to fuck around and play the Chiefs in the divisional round.
Yep. And
then we're gonna lose, and then we'll have to. And then I think the Ravens will play like the Bengals. I think the Ravens will beat the Bengals this year, and then the Ravens will play the Chiefs and the Ravens.
That's a tough pick. Obviously, I know it hurts, right? Chiefs is probably the team that everybody has. Obviously, they are quote unquote the juggernauts, right?
I hate the Ravens, bro.
All right, man. So this one was tough for me. Obviously, Kansas City's the reigning champions. You know what I mean? That's obvious. Bengals obviously been to the AFC Championship 2 years in a row. Got teams, the Chargers, the Jets. All these teams are good, right? The AFC is stacked. That's been said to death. I actually got the matchup that we were supposed to see that ended on that Monday night game. I actually got the Bengals and the Bills in the AFC Championship. Here's why. I think both of these teams, right, regardless of who plays Kansas City in the divisional round, I think we'll beat them.
I'm listening.
And for 2 reasons. Kansas City has a very good offensive line, but now, unlike last year, It's a very good offensive line interior now. With the 2 tackles, I think that's going to hurt. Von Miller will be back. He will be healthy. And obviously, we know, you know how I feel about Hendrickson and obviously
Sam Hubbard.
I think obviously we've seen the Bengals beat the Chiefs already. The Bills took them to as far as you could take them, right? I think either one of those teams will beat them, and I think the other one will beat the Jets in the divisional round, leaving the Bills and the Bengals in the AFC Championship. Who do I have going to the Super Bowl? Hurts me to say. I know Pop's gonna get hyped. I actually think Cincy will beat the Bills. I think both the Bills and the Bengals were built to beat the Chiefs, right? But I think the way the Bengals did it also allowed for them to beat the Bills and not the other way around. So, with that said, obviously the Super Bowl, you have Kansas City and you have Philly. So you have a rematch. You have a Super Bowl rematch. We haven't seen that in a long time. You know what I mean?
Yep, I have a Super Bowl rematch, and I got the Philadelphia Eagles getting the win.
You have the hold on. You have the Eagles winning the Super Bowl.
Yes, I do. I do.
Oh my God.
I think what we're gonna see is, if you remember when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl and Patrick Mahomes was running for his life.
Right.
I think you're gonna see the same exact thing. They're going to play that very tight Tampa 2 spy, and you're going to see Jalen. I think we forgot one person. They forgot that. Do you remember that the Eagles didn't have Jordan Davis last year?
I do remember that, yes.
And now they just added Jalen Carter.
Yes.
To that demonstrous big-ass on defensive line.
Look,
if you've seen Friday Night Lights, that D-line looks like Dallas Carter. Like,
Dallas Carter.
bro.
Okay.
They got the true mean machine on the defensive line, and then a dog and Hassan Reddick at the same time.
Okay.
Like, I just think their defensive front is going, especially when you just said that they just lost Orlando Brown Jr., who was their left tackle. So, like, they just lost him to the Bengals. So I think there's going to be a hell for them to pay. I think Jalen Hurts is going to muscle his way back to the Super Bowl. And I think this time he's going to get the job done.
Okay. All right. Super Bowl rematch. You heard it. That's what Devontae has. Is that who I have? No. Obviously, I have the Bengals playing the 49ers in the Super Bowl. I think the 49ers defense is too lethal. And I think basically not saying they're going to trade in the AFC Championship, but I have the Chiefs and the Bengals virtually knocking each other out of the playoffs, flip-flopping for years to come, right? Now, that doesn't mean in the AFC Championship, it could be wild card weekend, right? It could be divisional weekend. I think those two teams with those offenses are just going to flip-flop, knocking each other out the playoffs. But for this year, I think the Bengals will play the Niners in the Super Bowl, and I actually have the Bengals beating the 49ers. And no, that is not because my father is a Bengals fan. That is literally because I think their offense is lethal. I think their defense will be better than people think, and I think that offensive line this year will take a step to become really good. Kind of how the Chiefs did right after they lost to the Bucs, and they built that offensive line, and then it got to a point where Mahomes wasn't being touched. Literally touched. He wasn't being touched. I think that's what's going to happen. Not necessarily in the sense, not to the same level, but I think what's going to happen is, because Joe gets the ball out fast, I think what's going to happen is they're going to mix in a short pass game to go along with the offensive line being better. I think the run game is good. Obviously, secondary, we have some questions with the Bengals, but I think the linebacking crew is good. I think the front's going to be good. I think the Bengals will be the Niners because Brock Purdy will throw a game-losing pick in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Obviously, we'll get to you guys' picks. We'll see who you guys pick. This is way too early, the early bird. For all we know, Mahomes and Burrow can miss the season. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, obviously, that throws us all out of flux. We don't wish injury, but this is just the way too early picks.
By the way, this is unbiased because if we was being biased, my Steelers is winning the bowl all day long. This is unbiased, bro. Just so you know.
Right. Now, I have a feeling. I will say this before we get to the comments. I have a feeling that there's going to be some team in the Super Bowl that nobody even thought of. You know what I mean? Now, technically that could be the Jets. I know there are people saying they could win, but that could be the Jets. It could be fucking the Lions. It could be the Dolphins. The Giants. I mean, whatever.
No, do not give the Giants hope like that. Cut that out. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. They're gonna run with that forever.
All right. So let's get to these comments, man. I'm sure they're gonna have something to say. All right, Super Bowl. So we already know Zach's Philly, Baltimore, the chip of the birds, right? All right,
we saw that one. Yep,
we saw that. All right.
Yep.
T Live. Ravens and Bills for the AFC. Okay.
Okay. I wonder who AFC.
Ravens and Bills. Sounds okay.
Gross.
Ravens. Glenn Foreman said, now for the real conference, these should be the same themselves. Bengals over Jacksonville. Look, I think the Jaguars are live. The Jaguars could be that team because Calvin Ridley's a monster, bro. I think people forgot. Like, he's really good.
That's who I think will beat round one.
Okay.
If we draw them, I think we could beat the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right.
Easily.
AFC Championship, Steelers and Baltimore. I don't believe Chiefs. He doesn't believe in the Chiefs the year of the Bills, or definitely not the Bengals. Obviously, we know you're a Steelers fan, of course, but like
Bengals, man.
Steelers and the Ravens. I mean, that'd be a hard-hitting classic one, but I don't know about that. All right, Levante, Chiefs have 0 wide receivers, but Mahomes is that great. Mahomes, you know about Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't need to even be said though. Like, it's Brady level Mahomes, right? Peyton Manning, where it's like they got that guy. We know what else they got. You know what I mean? But he's that good, man. And don't sleep on Andy Reid. I say it. He's the greatest offensive play caller of all time.
100% agree.
Look no further than the Super Bowl, when all he did to score 2 consecutive touchdowns against Philly was just run a simple zip motion and snap the ball as soon as he touches it, as soon as he crosses the guard. So it's not a snap infraction like the Eagles coach was saying it was, because he did it right. And then what did he do? He flipped it on the other side the next time they drove down, and it still worked. That's not Mahomes. I give Patrick Mahomes all the credit in the world.
Yep.
But to run a simple zip motion, just to scheme a guy open, come on, bro.
I'm so
Andy
tired.
Reid is the greatest play caller. And me too. I'm tired of him too.
I'm tired of this, man.
He's in the division of the team I root for, but he is the greatest play caller I've ever seen. All right. Levante said the best wideout is probably is Tony now, actually, with Juju on.
Him or Sky Moore.
Sky Moore is good. He is good. And obviously we'll see what happens with Kelsey. I don't think he should play Thursday night, if I'm being honest. I don't think he should play Thursday night. LeBron said, Eagles lost both coordinators, though. Will that make a difference? I'll give you that question because you picked the Eagles.
That's a good idea, maybe. I think the defense doesn't matter. I think honestly, with that defense, is just, bro, that personnel, you can get crazy no matter who you with. Like, I think Jeff Fisher is the worst coach of all time. He might be able to go get that defense and go get crazy. And I think Jeff Fisher is the worst coach of all time. Of all time. I just think the Eagles are going to be so talented. I think Jalen Hurts finally got his respect, and which is very funny because I've been telling you for 3 years there was nothing wrong with Jalen Hurts. And remember when they were like, "Oh, maybe they should trade Jalen Hurts and try to get a quarterback," and I was just like, "That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard." They didn't give him no. Doug Peterson gave him 0 shot to be nice.
Right,
0 shot to be nice. And now you look what Sirianni did with them. I think they're going to be great.
He is a good coach. Speaking of Philly, Zach said, believe it or not, Philly losing the D coordinator will help them. That's a good thing. Okay. Pop said, yeah, y'all little Thundercats bad, or listen to James. They smoked hash brown Cincinnati growls to the chip.
They ain't gonna know damn chip. They're not going to the chip.
I think just like, for example, I picked Philly. I know I picked Philly to beat the Chiefs. I thought they would have if not for the fumble. But just how I thought the Chiefs were on a mission to prove that they could do it without Reek. You know what I mean? I think the Bengals, but instead their mission is to beat the Chiefs. You know what I mean? I think that's the little rivalry that's being born.
I think they're gonna get beat up this year. I think they're really gonna get beat. I think the Bengals are gonna get like beat up, like bruised up, like I think
physical.
I think they're gonna have a lot of injury problems this year.
Okay. And Zach said the last time Dougie P went to his second year with the team, he did win the chip, obviously with Philly. So I think Jacksonville's that's a sleeper. Like, I didn't have them as a sleeper because I picked them to win the division easy, but they are live. They are live. All right.
I like Sunshine Ronnie Bass.
Ronnie Bass. Ronnie Bass. All right. So we're gonna have games to watch. These are the games that basically we're saying be on the lookout for this week. If you have Sunday Ticket, which is now of course on YouTube, these are the games that we're saying just be on the lookout for. All right. So games to watch. Devontae has the Bills at Jets, which is the Monday night game, of course. The Steelers at 49ers, which you see on the ticker on the bottom, is a Sunday at 1 p.m. And he has, of course, the opening kickoff game Thursday night, the Lions at the Chiefs. You want to just quickly go over why?
Bills and Jets, it's a statement game.
Yep.
Steelers, Niners, it will show. It'll be the first big upset of the year. I don't see it as an upset if you really ask me, but if you had to look at the 2022 regular season, it'll be an upset.
Right.
And then the Lions, Chiefs, I just think it's gonna show. I think it's gonna give the Chiefs the scare that they're gonna desperately need to know that it ain't sweet like that, and it's gonna show the Lions have arrived, and it's gonna scare the Vikings, and they're just gonna pray that they play them at 1 o'clock.
All right. So I got the 49ers and Steelers as well. I do agree. I think these are the two best defenses in the league that are going to clash week 1. Hopefully nobody walks out with injuries, of course, but I think these right here are the two best defenses in the league. That's just how I feel. And if you know me by now, you know I'm a defensive guy. I'm gonna have my eyes glued to this.
Same here.
I also got Cowboys at the Giants, kind of for the same reason you have Bills at the Jets, right? Divisional game implications. I think, although I do have Dallas winning that division, I do think it's going to be tight between those three teams. I think the Giants are going to be a little worse than last year because they won some close games in some freaky fashion as well. You know what I mean? But I think the Giants are going to push Philly and Dallas. They're just going to finish third. You know what I mean? So, and because Dallas is on the road, I want to see how Dak looks because he did throw 16 picks last year, you know what I mean? And not playing 17 games, you know? So I definitely want to see that. And at the end, I got Titans at the Saints because I think Titans with DeAndre Hopkins now, I think they can, if they can get it right with Derrick Henry, I like how they drafted too. I think they can push Jacksonville in that division. I just got to see it first. And I think that Saints defense is good enough for us to see what that offense can look like. And the other side, I think Carr is going to have, what can you do now? You no longer have the excuse that you had in Vegas because you have a defense, one of the best in the league behind you. You have a running game. I know Kamara and Jacobs is not the same style, and I know he won't be there for this particular game, but no more excuses. You got there, you got the offense, you got the defense, you have the coach that you loved. Now it's time to get that done. That's why I specifically picked Titans at Saints, which is also at 1 o'clock. And obviously, Cowboys and Giants are the Sunday night game. Yep. So let's get to these comments and we're going to get out of here. Absolutely appreciate the love and support. We are back for season 2 every week, Tuesdays at 7:05. So yeah, man. And obviously, if you like video games, stick around because obviously on my channel, I will be having my Past the Six podcast, which is my video game podcast. Obviously, so if you like that, Facebook Past the Six podcast, join the page. We over 20,000 strong on that one. All right, let's get to these comments. Levante said, "For every pick, Dak hairline goes farther back." Yo, AFC North and the NFC East fans, they kill me with that, bro. Just the constant back and forth, man. I love it though. If your mama Steelers fan, I'll smash Jets, Steelers, Lions, Cowboys, and the Saints. So basically saying those are the teams to watch. Basically, I would assume. Yep. Zach said, "Y'all the best. Been waiting all year for the show to return. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. I told you we was coming back, man. It wasn't even a question of if. It was just when. That's all." He said, "Too much hype for the Jets already. Slow it down." I completely agree with that. Completely. Well, also,
you know, Dad hate Aaron Rodgers, so like, we're not gonna do
that. It's a great job, fellas. Appreciate that. LeBron said, "Will Trey Lance supplant Dak as starting quarterback?" That's something to look out. I know.
Oh my God, here we go again.
I know the
same thing with the Cooper Rush.
Here we go. I know the backup is Cooper Rush. But like I said, if they don't win the division, Dak's out of a job, and then either Cooper Rush or Trey Lance will become the starter for the Cowboys. LeBron also said, enjoyed the show.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
For real. Appreciate it, y'all. Appreciate all the love and support. Like I said, we will be back next week, of course, talking more NFL. Gridiron podcast. We back. We'll catch y'all next week. Oh, we got 2 that popped in. T Live said, Aaron not losing at home. He coming out there in a do-rag. All right, bro.
It's supposed to be ready to go.
Yo, he said he coming out in a do-rag. Yo.
With cocoa butter Vaseline on too.
He in New York, right? With 504 and
damn right. Tim's and all.
He said the Bears QB will show out this year.
Shout out Jay Fields, my man.
Oh, absolutely. Do not forget my question about the QB to look out for. Devontae, I will pass it over to you. He said, who do y'all think should be looking out for college QB if Pickett does not work out, and then we'll get out of here?
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think we're going to have that problem because Kenny Pickett is going to work out very well. But honestly, I think at that point, I don't think we'll be any real good. I think we really got lucky getting Kenny Pickett. So with that being said, I don't think we're going to actually get a quarterback ever again in the top 5 to 10. Why? Because we never pick in the top 5 or 10. So with that being said, I think Kenny Pickett is our guy. And I think if we don't go with Kenny Pickett, I think we're going to have to really see if we can get Kyler Murray from the Cardinals.
He will be available. Trust me.
Very soon. Yeah. He will be available.
He will be available. Like, that's good though. That could work too. But all right, appreciate y'all. We'll be back next week, Tuesday, 7:05.
Yes,
Facebook, YouTube. Devontae, let them know where they can find you. Then we'll get out of here. Again, Past Six Podcast starts at 9:05. Video games. If you like video games, meet us over there. If not, we'll catch you next week. Devontae, let them know where they can find you.
Of course, you can find me at Devontae Forever on YouTube. If you want to see, if you like my Steelers content, you want to see me talk crazy Steelers takes, I'm right there. If you want to see me talk more NFL stuff, I'm right there. Let me know.
Absolutely. Catch y'all next week. We out. Peace.